10 months into our investigation, Reggie and I were having our doubts as to whether Dennis could have committed this crime. According to his team, the key to freeing Dennis was underneath Sarah Cherry's fingernails. It's beautiful. Better than snow.
70 degrees.
Yep.
Hey, Jerry, it's Michaela. Hi.
Good, how are you? After arriving in Florida,
Listen,
we spent the
don't
morning
get you a bad
talking
time
with
with
DeShane's attorney and private investigator. They believe that if they can get a sample of Senecal's DNA, they'll prove their client's innocence once and for all.
Maybe if we tell them, listen, we'll either get you directly in touch with the district attorney's office so they can do the test. If you want, we'll do it as court TV, totally impartial, you know? All I want to see is get this moved from A to B and tested.
Do we have a picture of him somewhere?
Doug Senecal. Shane.
Here he is. Doug Senecal.
At the time of Sarah Cherry's abduction, Senecal was reportedly working as a mason. Earlier that year, he was indicted on 2 counts of illegal sexual contact with his own stepdaughters. Had his case gone to trial, one of the witnesses against him might have been 12-year-old Sarah Cherry.
Must be just a couple mosquitoes off that pond over there. Looks all right.
I don't know. Don't look all right to me.
I don't see no dog, so that's, I mean, it looks all right. Haven't heard anything barking yet. What's the number? You said E, right?
It's probably that one.
Yeah, that's gotta be it.
They look like somebody from there.
Is that Doug?
It's on here somewhere.
Nobody was home at Senecal's house.
Come back. We got time.
We circled the area for a few hours, hoping he'd show up. Finally, we decided to call him.
I brought to the main road. We'll give him a call.
Is it ringing?
Yeah, answer machine came on.
He's probably working.
Let's try a little later on.
There were a lot of things pointing to Dennis DeShane's involvement. His admitted use of drugs, the proximity of his truck to the body, his documents found in the driveway, and the scarf from his truck used to strangle the victim. But so far, Reggie and I were finding more and more holes in the prosecution's case, and the reasonable doubt was starting to pile up. What if somebody set him up, using the items from his truck to commit the murder? What if Dennis was simply in the wrong place at the wrong time?
Find this guy. If it takes all night, we're gonna find Doug.
That's right. Let's get some coffee, huh?
Reggie and I drove by Senecal's house later that night, but there still was no sign of him.
Doesn't move by too much. There's friggin' dogs over here. Damn.
We kept calling, but only got his answering machine. Then our luck changed. Hello, Doug Senecal, please. Miss Senecal, how do you do? My name is Jerry Palace. I'm a reporter with Court TV. I was wondering if I could speak to you. It's about the Dennis DeShane case. Do you remember that? Well, what about it is that, obviously you know that people have been pointing a finger at you. Nothing to say. I mean, wouldn't you like to put these stories all to rest? For what reason? For your own good name. I mean, you have nothing to hide, right? So you rather go down saying, I have nothing to say. Why would you do that? Senecal was pretty angry and said that if we stepped foot on his property, he'd call the cops. By you not coming forward, it almost sounds like
Don't say that. Don't say that.
Yeah. I think he hung up.
Jeez, he is paranoid.
He doesn't want to say anything. I mean, that's it. Dennis DeShane, not him. To me, it sounds like he's almost hiding something. He says if we come there, step onto his property, go up his stairs, whatever, he'll call the police. The law will be here.
He's paranoid.
And he wasn't a happy camper. There's no way this guy's gonna talk. We tried Senecal a few more times, but we weren't able to convince him to speak with us. But just as Reggie and I were about to get some dinner, Ray Pierce, our criminal profiler, called.
Sounds like you two have been busy up dinner.
Oh, we've been doing a lot of running around. So, what do you think?
Ray had looked at all the evidence we had sent him and was ready to give us his opinion.
It's probably one person that did this without a doubt.
Okay.
It's obviously a male white.
Right now, I can't tell you anything better than he's probably over the age of 19.
Normally, if you're talking about a random serial killer, they're lucky if they go 10 or 20 feet into the woods off a highway.
And here is someone that took the time to really take her into the woods. So you're talking about someone at that time that was in pretty good physical condition.
So, a strong guy.
Yeah.
Ray, I can ask you, did this guy, do you think this happened before? Was this a first time for somebody like this? Because it did look, I mean, like this guy had done it before to me.
DeShane.
Yeah, I don't know if he fits that category. With a young child like that, there are usually other activities. Guys stalking, peeping Toms.
Building up to it. Or he's committed other crimes like that.
See, a person like this generally is kind of withdrawn, kind of a loner, not to say that he can't be married.
But it's much more likely to be that loner, that person that would be a little bit strange.
If you had kids, you'd say stay away from that type of person.
What Ray was saying was that DeShane didn't fit the profile.
You're young.
And he also had some advice. If we really wanted to be sure about DeShane, we should go back to the prison and interview him again. But this time hit him hard, just like the cops did in the woods that night. And we're forgetting the main person here. This girl that was murdered. Do you remember her?
Yes.
What was done to her?
Picture.
At the suggestion of our criminal profiler, we headed back to Maine to meet with Dennis one more time. Our plan was to go at Dennis hard, just like the cops did the night Sarah Cherry disappeared. We gotta really try and rattle his cage big time. If he was guilty, he'd likely clam up and wouldn't fight back. But if he was really innocent, he'd get angry and possibly walk.
You're back.
We're back.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting you back.
Dennis, since we last saw you, we've been all over the place. I mean, your supporters, detractors, the prosecutor, the police. Doug Senecal.
Yes,
We spoke to Doug Senegal.
you did.
He has an alibi.
He has all kinds of time to go to Bowdoin and do the dirty deed.
And another thing that bothers me, here you are in a police car, the back of a police car, you're being interviewed, you're claiming that they're harassing you.
And you're the only lead they got at 9 o'clock at night, connecting them to this little girl. How did you expect them to question you?
Well, they grilled me pretty much the way you are now, except a little more amplified, in such a fashion that I was in fear of my life.
Why didn't you say, you're a grown man, I'm going home?
I didn't know where my truck was. How am I getting home? They're accusing me of being involved in the disappearance of this girl, and I felt I had to set it straight, so I did my level best.
Dennis, you're not being honest with us.
I am being honest.
No, you're
with
not.
you. I was getting high. That's what I was hiding. I didn't want to tell them I was
You
getting
know,
high.
Dennis, we're getting fed a lot of bull over here, and we're forgetting the main person here. This girl that was murdered, do you remember her?
Yes.
What was done to her?
Look at the picture.
Huh?
I
Do you
know.
remember? Do you know what was done to her?
Yes, I do.
You did it.
I've never
Speak the
harmed a
truth,
person
for
in my
Christ's
life.
sakes.
I've never harmed a person in my life.
Look at this girl, Dennis. Look at this girl.
I
You
don't-
took her life.
I didn't have anything to do with this. Say what you want.
What kind of person would do this to this little girl? What kind of
A
person?
goddamn monster, and I'm not
Monster?
him.
You're not that monster?
No, Sarah Cherry. I've never seen her before in my life.
You killed
ever.
her.
And you're sorely mistaken, so.
I'm not
I guess-
sorely
I guess we're
mistaken.
done here, huh?
Take it easy, Dennis. Hey, you know what? We do this all the time. We got to put these guys to the test. I don't want nobody getting out of these places that may have killed someone.
Dennis had passed our test, and after nearly a year of investigation, we concluded that he very possibly could be the wrong man.
They didn't prove beyond a reasonable doubt.
Yeah, no doubt about that. Other people they could have looked at, and they didn't. I mean, you want to see if this guy's involved in this murder, yet they don't do the simple things. That's something they should have done. I think that's police work 101.
They did a horrible job. The Attorney General's office, the state police, and the local police. He definitely deserves another trial.
We got one vicious killer out there who really should be behind bars.
Dennis DeShane has spent the last 17 years behind bars. And unless something major happens in his hearing coming up next fall, he'll probably spend the rest of his life there. We weren't completely convinced that Doug Senecal had anything to do with this crime. But one thing we did know was that Dennis didn't get a fair trial. The prosecution blocked evidence of other potential suspects, presented half-truths to the jury, and opposed DNA testing during the trial. We think that if the jury had heard all of the evidence, DeShane very well could be a free man today.